Okay, guys, we're looking at the fabulous Golden Eagle 7000 30-06 rifle. This is a very rare rifle today. They only made them from 1976 to 1980, and it's made in Japan by Nikko, Nikko, Nikko. And this is one of the more beautiful and expensively made type rifles out of Japan. Japan, and from the Nikko company, also made some of the Winchester rifles for Winchester and also some of the Mark V Weatherbys. And that's really interesting. The reason I have this samurai sword here is because that in Japan, they're no stranger to metallurgy. And they made some of the finest samurai swords in the world. So they understand a little bit about metallurgy. So that's why I have this samurai sword here. And I really appreciate the Japanese history of metallurgy. And that's a great science all in its own. But they did an excellent job on this particular Golden Eagle 7000, in which we'll look at that. A lot of work really went into this, and we'll look at the stock, we'll look at the barrel, we'll look at the action here, and see some of the great workmanship that they did on this rifle. And this is a excellent shooting rifle here. So let's look at the stock. We'll look at the rear first. Now, a lot of people call this a California stock, maybe, and it has the Monte Carlo comb coming up here. And look at the beauty of this walnut wood. It's got a lot of good color in the wood itself. Just very beautiful wood. And sometimes you can find a beautiful stock like this, but it won't have the coloration in it that you want. And so, lucky to have this particular piece of wood. So we got the Monte Carlo comb coming up here. And then we have a cheek piece on this too. And you can see this cheek piece right here comes up. I'll give you a different angle of that. Okay, you can see this pronounced cheek piece right here go against the side of your face, and how it raises up right here. And just beautiful. Now, I don't know if you can see this or not on the back, but this says Golden Eagle. This pad's made especially for this gun. That's a Golden Eagle on the back of that pad. Again, look at the beauty of this wood. To me, there's nothing more beautiful than a wooden stock. Synthetics are okay, but I mean, you just like the beauty. And look at the checkering on this right here. Beautiful checkering on this wood. And still beautiful grain coming through on the stock right here. And some more beautiful checkering right here. And then at the end right here, this is a block of rosewood. You see this right here, they take a block of rosewood and they cut the stock, and they take this block of rosewood and glue it up against this piece right here of the original stock, and make it really beautiful. And that's got a beautiful grain in that as well. And look at the bluing on that barrel. The bluing is just incredible on this barrel. The whole bluing here. This gun is like mint condition. So we're looking at the stock on it right now. And you see the beautiful work right here that's done. Now, when you start, I don't know if you've ever tried that. Today they use an electric inscriber to do the checkering. It's an electric checkering. And you take somebody who's really, really good at that to do this kind of checkering. And this has got a kind of a unique pattern to it. You might be able to pick out this pattern a little bit. This is kind of what we're looking at right here, and see the beauty again of this stock. not enough can be said about the work that goes into that. And we'll look at this grip right here because this is interesting too. Okay, we put our gun on the side here. We see we have a latch here, put a sling on. But look at this. Now looking at the grip cap right here, this is what's really interesting right here and very beautiful. This is the Golden Eagle head. Look how pretty that is. And that's on the cap right here of the grip. And that's just beautifully done. You can see better, see this checkering a little better here in the light. Sorry, my light's not the best. But this is fancy checkering right here. So you don't see that a lot. So again, we've looked at the stock here pretty well. And we see that this is really a beautiful stock. And now we're going to look at the barrel on this rifle right here, which is really awesome. Okay, let's look at this barrel right here. We see where the barrel comes out of the receiver here, and then it starts tapering down. Notice how much it tapers. That's a lot of taper right there. And as it tapers, it gets smaller and smaller, and actually smaller to the very end right here. And you notice there is no sight on the end of this barrel. It's not made for a sight. It's made for a scope. And so this barrel tapers incredibly small. I'm trying to get this barrel in focus. This is a 30-06. Look at the size of this is my little finger right here. See how small that barrel tapers right there? That is really incredible. So it thins out a lot on the barrel right here. So it's just got a beautiful, sleek design to the barrel as it tapers downward. It's actually tapered fairly much all the way down a good bit. Makes that barrel very thin, but again, it's still a very accurate rifle. And that's kind of what I wanted you to see on the barrel part. I don't know if we can read this right here. But again, the Golden Eagle comes out of Nikko. It's made by Nikko out of Japan. Japan is known for the great samurai swords too. You know, these people are not dense when it comes to metallurgy and making great steel. And beautiful jeweled bolt right here. And they didn't. They were not stingy about designing and making this bolt system right here. And this, again, a beautiful jewel bolt right here. And look how they scalped this out right here. Beautiful work right here. That's a lot of work on a machine. If you see people working machine shops, milling machines, things like that. Nice looking bolt right here. Got a tang safety right here. And of all the different boats and things that I've seen, this is a very unique boat that you don't see in other rifles. I don't know if anybody makes one quite like this one on the Locking Lugs. But look at the back of this boat. It's kind of a pyramid shape. And I don't know. I want to try to show you the back of this boat right here. It's very unique. It's kind of a pyramid shape. See that? You don't see too many with a pyramid design or shape to them. But one of the interesting things about this boat right here too is that it doesn't have 2 lugs on it. It doesn't have 3 lugs on it. It doesn't have 4 lugs on it. It has 5 locking lugs on it. And the lugs, which makes this very unique, and it may be the only one of its type that I know of, and you may know someone who makes one, but I don't, is that most lugs are in the front of the boat close to the barrel. All the lugs on this one are in the rear. So this is a rear locking lug system, a rear locking lug system. And I'll show you that. Now, let's just take the bolt out. Okay, you can see the jewel cut here of this bolt. And let's just examine that better, get some better light. Okay guys, we took this bolt out so we can actually see it in a better light here. And we see the beautiful jewel cut on the bolt. And it's always nice to have that. And we'll look at the lugs on here. Now notice the lugs here, there's none on the front, which would be close to the barrel. All your locking lugs are in the rear. This is the rear locking lug bolt, which is, I don't know if anybody else has ever made a rear locking lug. It would be interesting, but you see that those two bolts on top right here, and this right here would be your third one. And on the other side, here you can see it better this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that's 4, and we pull it over, we got one on top, that's 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on top. Now there are some with 6 locking lugs, and I'm not sure which ones those are, but look at this kind of pyramidal type shape right here at the back. Now, most guns are made cheaply in the sense that you don't want to do any more milling or cutting on a gun than you have to, because it takes hours to do that and it costs more money. But they didn't seem like they spared very much on these right here, because they went all out to make 5 locking lugs and this kind of pyramid design right here in the back. A nice looking bolt right here, and just beautifully done. This is probably one of the, this again is a 30-06, and this is probably one of the better looking rifles that I have seen of this kind of quality. Just a look at the rear right here. I'm sorry my lighting's not any better. So there's a lot of work that goes into this action right here too. It's just from the bolt and the 5 lugs and the kind of pyramidal rear design to it, and all of this right here, the scalping out, has to be done on a milling machine. And this right here, the deep scalping out, is done on the milling machine. And so some of that is kind of just extra work. And this boat slides in like smooth as glass. Just beautifully done. And we'll look at the other side of this receiver here. Now looking at the receiver on this other side, this is another thing people don't do on a lot of guns. You can see this right here is scalped out too. So all this had to be milled down on this side, just like it was on the other side, but all the way across here. And then of course they put Golden Eagle right here. And there you go. That's a lot of work right there, folks. And then they scalped it out here too, like on the other side. A lot of work went into that. So they spent a lot of work and time, and maybe you can read some of this writing. I think you can see Nikko right here. And so it's just beautifully done, beautifully made. And you may be wondering about the scope on this one. You may be wondering about the scope on this one. This is a Leopold Variance 3, 6.5 to 20 power. 6.5 to 20 power. Originally, this scope was about, let's see, this scope was probably about $600 when it was bought new. So it's a good scope, and that's a good bit of money for a scope. But the quality is there, and it's a lifetime guarantee on Leopold. If anything happens to the inside of the scope or it doesn't work right, then they'll repair it for you free. So I just wanted you to see one of the kind of rare rifles, which I don't ever see. I used to visit a lot of gun stores, a lot of pawn shops looking for stuff, and you just don't see these rifles right here. And if you find one, what I've seen, the prices of these, depending on the quality, now this one is about 95% mint from what I've seen of, and they run about $800 to $1,000 for the Golden Eagle, if you can find one, and if it's in real good shape. That's the real key on the price too. Golden Eagle made a shotgun too, a double barrel shotgun, and those I've seen on a gun broker for about $1,700 to $2,000 for their shotgun, the Golden Eagle, which is a beautiful shotgun too. But Nikko did produce guns for Winchester and for Weatherby, so they're used to high quality stuff. One thing we want to look at too is the bottom of the Golden Eagle. And we see we got a beautiful gold trigger right here too, which is really nice. And our grip right here, we have the beautiful Golden Eagle. Isn't that pretty? So that's the Golden Eagle right there with a gold trigger. And our bottom latch here, we've got a button right here. You press this button right here. This opens up like that. And of course this is metal, which that's good. I don't like the plastic too much on them. And you put your ammo in here and close that and let it pop. So it's real easy to open this right here. Just push that in and that pops open right there. And you can see part of that rosewood on the end of the stock right here again. So again, this is just a beautiful rifle here. And been well taken care of. Here's some writing here. Let's see if we can, you see that Golden Eagle Firearms, Houston, Texas. Patent, made in Japan.